I thought it was like maybe almost like a decade ago. It seems like in my head, but I don't know. It was very, very many years ago, and I bought these things. I bought them at a store. I just left them in the package. I never got to use them. I don't even know where. Oh, here they are.
There's art supplies in there?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, just a bunch of pens I bought a long time ago. Never really got a chance to use them. I want to see if they still work.
Are they safe to use?
Yeah, they're pens. What do you mean they're not safe?
What is that?
You fool!
Me?
And scene. Doing that bit, all that coughing, I honestly almost lost my lunch.
Me too.
And the reason we did that bit was because it was based on the opening of one of my favorite zombie movies, Return of the Living Dead.
Oh, you love that movie.
I love that movie. It's an 80s classic. Right. And another reason we did that opening was because I could not find my pens that I wanted to ink this with.
Oh, okay.
But I remembered I had these old microns that I bought, I kid you not, like between 5 and 10 years ago.
Oh my God.
And I'd never even opened the package.
Oh, okay.
And I kept thinking, well, they've got to be dried up by now. I'll just use some other pens. And I kept pushing them to the back of the drawer. Oh. But this time I could not find those Pitt pens that I wanted. So I was like, I guess I'll use the microns. And I opened them up and they worked like a charm.
Oh my gosh.
This is not sponsored. It's not an ad, but these microns, they've got to be 8 years old.
Right.
And they are fresh as a daisy.
That's crazy.
The ink went down smooth. It didn't seem dry at all.
Yeah.
I might be a convert. I like the Pitt pens, the Pitt artist pens from Faber-Castell. But these microns are also amazing.
Yes.
They may be my new pen.
Oh, good.
We'll see.
Okay.
And of course, the zombie that I'm inking is known as the Tarman Zombie.
Right.
Exactly. And he's got to be one of the creepiest zombies I've ever seen.
Oh, yeah.
And probably the most fun.
Oh, he is, yeah.
And we didn't even know his name was the Tarman.
Right.
We saw a lot of people online calling him the Tarman. And then upon rewatching the movie the other day, we saw one of the characters calls him the Tarman. And I think it's because his skin is sloughing off of his bones in these wet, gooey sheets.
Oh my God.
It's just stomach churning. He is a great monster.
Oh, yeah.
And I love those makeup effects.
Oh, right. And I love the way the actor moves his body around.
Ah, so disturbing.
Totally.
Oh, and the reason I wanted to use my pens specifically for this was I wanted to draw all of these long, drippy lines of goo coming off of him to evoke the way he looked in the movie.
Yeah.
One thing about Return of the Living Dead that makes it one of my favorite zombie movies is that it's a perfect mix of comedy and horror.
Oh, yeah, it is. And that's not easy to do.
Right? Yeah, because you can pour too much of one into the mix, too little of the other. The whole thing becomes a parody.
Right.
So I was thinking about all of my favorite horror movies in general, and I think that they all have that mix of comedy and horror that I like. Like, for example, An American Werewolf in London.
Yeah, scary and gory.
Exactly, but it's very, very funny.
Right, like Shaun of the Dead.
Perfect example. I love it. I don't know if you remember also, there's a movie we watched called They're Watching. It's a home improvement show that sets up in a witch's village.
Oh, yeah. I like that one.
It's very scary.
Right.
But it also had an undercurrent of funny that kept it buoyant.
Right. Zombieland.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen the sequel.
No, me either.
Because we haven't been to a theater, right?
Maybe we can stream it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Housebound, by the way, is another one. Speaking of being stuck in a house.
Right.
It's the one where the woman is under house arrest. She can't leave, but it's a haunted house.
Right.
And she's terrified.
Still funny,
Very
though.
funny.
Yeah.
Another good mix.
Lost Boys.
Perfect. But we're going to run the whole tape out here.
We should make a list in the info.
We should. Good idea. We'll each put, like 10 of our favorite horror movies that have a good mix of comedy in the info.
Good. Great idea, Michelle.
Great idea, Michelle. Another thing about Return of the Living Dead that I love is the actor James Karen, who you could not stop laughing
I
at.
know.
He is hilarious in that.
Making those facial expressions.
Yeah, and you know what? You probably also remembered him from Poltergeist. He was the guy who moved the headstones, but he didn't move the bodies.
Right.
And the first time I saw him in these horror movies, what I thought, and what maybe probably a lot of people on the East Coast thought, was, that's the Pathmark guy. Because he used to do commercials, television commercials for a supermarket chain called Pathmark.
Wow.
And I was like, how did the Pathmark guy get to do horror movies?
Right?
But what I didn't know at the time was he had already had a long storied career as an actor.
Oh my.
Since way back in the 50s.
Oh gosh.
And he had done a ton of stuff. Very talented actor, very funny.
Right?
And I'm really, really happy that he experienced a resurgence of his career after the Pathmark gig.
Yes.
But if you want to see him do those commercials, just Google James Karen Pathmark, and there's a ton of commercials where he's talking about the price of meat and stuff. So.
I'm going to.
Oh, I got a juicy little tidbit for you.
Really?
Yeah, the actress that played Tina in Return of the Living Dead, Beverly Randolph, in 2017, she was in a movie called Death House, and her character's name, Dr. Tarman. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I think it was just a nod to this movie.
That's nice.
And its famous zombie.
Okay.
Its famous gooey zombie. You see me drawing the piles of goo
I do.
on the ground here because he's just leaving puddles of goo wherever he goes.
Right.
And you can see that I've spattered ink in that lower left-hand corner.
I did
that with a toothbrush.
Nice.
And dipped it in a little jar of ink.
Okay.
And then I spattered it. And I didn't catch that on camera, but I did catch me doing it with the Pro White correction fluid. So here's how you do it. You basically you take your favorite toothbrush. And this is how I keep my teeth white. And I actually cut a mask so that I wouldn't ruin the Tarman Zombie.
Always smart.
So then I just dip a little bit of the corner of the toothbrush into the Pro White. Then I completely coat my fingers and hands in really hard to wash off correction fluid.
Gosh.
But the result is worth it.
That
it's well
nice.
worth it. I really like that spattery, gory look.
Right? That looks great.
All right, let's take a look and see how this thing turned out.
And there he is.
There he is.
The Tarman Zombie.
I really like the way this turned out.
I really do too.
As you can see, I went very, very heavy on the black inks.
Oh, you did?
Because I wanted him to look completely disgusting.
Oh, he does.
And I think it worked out.
Right?
You can see his ribs poking through.
Oh my
You can
God.
see his guts falling out.
And that face. That is crazy.
He's adorable.
Oh, hey, I found
Yeah.
those pens that you're looking for.
No, don't!
These two?
God! This bit is killing me!